back with another lash with me, and today I'm really excited to bring this video to you because first of all, she has blonde natural lashes. She has very light colored eyebrows. She also has maybe a 50% grown out lash lift and tint, and it's gonna be an interesting one. So when I look at her eyes today, her lash lift and tint is, like I said, it's about 50% grown out, and a lot of the lashes are really directed into one another. There's some lashes that kind of point down, there's some lashes that lift all the way up, some are curled sideways. It's gonna be a fun directional video because especially these lashes in here, they're turning all the way to the middle of the eye. They're not even slightly growing up. So we're gonna get some really good direction shots for this tutorial. And because her natural lashes are so light in color, we're gonna opt for brown lash extensions instead of black. And just to kind of blend the darker lash lift and tint in with her lighter roots, we're gonna do a mix of light and dark brown, which I think is gonna look really beautiful. And for her, guys, we wanna take skin tone into account. We wanna take natural lash color into account. We wanna take eye color into account. She has a crazy blue eye color, light eyebrows, light hair, light skin tone. So doing really dark lashes and really dramatic lashes would not be the best choice for her. So we're gonna keep it light and airy. I'm gonna do wet lashes, mixing 0.07s and 0.03s together. I really like to do that because 0.07s can go on the stronger, thicker natural lashes and 0.03s can go on the weaker, tinier natural lashes. And I think, like I said, the blend of light brown and dark brown together is going to work so well for today's look. I'm gonna err on the side of caution when it comes to dimensions today because it does look like this lash lift and tint that she's had previously might have done a little bit of damage. So we don't wanna put too much weight on that follicle. So we're gonna keep it extra light today. All right, let's do this. So I just got into lashing and I want to talk about how I lash blonde clients. So chances are you probably can't even see this lash. You can use clear glue, it's fine, but I like to use black glue because when I see an almost invisible lash, what I do is I paint it. So I paint glue onto the lash, the black glue onto the lash, and that helps me see the lash that I'm placing way better. So I only really do this for the pretty much invisible lashes that I'm isolating. And because my client today, Natasha, has such blonde lashes, there's gonna be lots of those across the lash line. So I'm actually on another one right now. I'm just gonna show you what I do. I've picked up my fan. I'm dipping into the glue. I'm gonna now take the glue, I'm gonna paint it onto the natural lash, see that? Now I've painted it black. Now I can go ahead and make my final placement. That helps me so much for my blonde lash clients because especially the root is often so invisible that I can barely even see it. But by painting it black, I can see perfectly. And now if you're wondering, well, is that too much weight because I used extra glue on that natural lash? And the answer is no, but the reason why is because I'm using lower dimensions than I would typically use. So I'm making up for that glue weight by going down in dimension. And I'm gonna hold just a little bit longer. You could even take your fan, because I'm on the inner corner right now. You can take your fan and fan it dry, just to make sure you don't end up with stickies, especially with those really fine lashes. It can be really hard to even identify other invisible natural lashes. So you definitely don't need stickies with this kind of client. All right, let's find another one just for another example. Okay, here's another really light one. All right. Also, I'm lifting up. So just take a look at this finger right here. It's lifting the eyelid to the side, which is helping me isolate. I'm working on the inner, so I'm pulling the eyelid toward the ear. And I'm also lifting the lid up a little tiny bit without opening the eye. That exposes the root of the natural lash. It can be really hard to lash blonde clients, especially if you don't have proper isolation, because there's a lot of times lots of little tiny natural lashes that you can't see that kind of fall into your section, and they can throw off the process a lot. And now because she also has had a lash lift and tint, and I've explained before that her natural lashes are kind of swaying in all different directions, it's gonna be so important for me to focus on direction. And that means that a lot of the lashes that I place are only gonna be connected by about 1 millimeter at the base, which is not ideal, but it can last really well depending on the connection that you make. So you really need to focus on making your connection perfectly flush between the base of the extension and the base of the natural lash. Directionally, if you look at my arrows here, I'm directing everything up. So it should look as clean as possible. It's gonna be very challenging with the unruly natural lashes, but we can still make this set look really clean. It's all in your direction. Where there's a will, there's a way. Okay, so directionally, look at this natural lash right here. So you see how this natural lash is swaying to the left. The tips literally curve toward the middle of the eye. Now, this might initially look like, well, I have to counteract that direction. But in fact, because her natural lash is growing out nice and straight, most of the natural lash is actually pointing nice and straight. So there's not actually much of a directional correction to do with a lash that's tips look like this. You just want to avoid placing your extension on the side where the natural lash curves. Just place it on the other side instead. So for that one, we're not going to place our extension on the top, underneath, or on the left side where it curves. We're going to place it on the opposite side. You can definitely wrap it around the bottom if you want to. That would be fine too. Perfect. And it looks nice and straight. Now, chances are, because she has a lash lift and tint, chances are her lash set might not look as clean as it would if I were working on her own natural lashes. And that's not because of directional issues or anything. That's just because some of her natural lashes, if I work with the same curl, which I am, some of her natural lashes are quite lifted and some sit a little lower. Her natural lashes sit lower than the lifted ones. So chances are in some sections where there's quite a bit of lift left over, it's gonna look a little more lifted than others. So it might throw off the aesthetic just a little bit, but you can definitely still work around it. But it's nice to have realistic expectations for sure. So for this entire set, to keep her lashes looking nice and natural, that's her ultimate goal. She really wants natural, natural, natural. So I'm actually working with low dimension wet lashes, keeping them really nice and airy. And if I feel like some spots are just too gapped because of how the natural lashes are kind of growing back out, I'll probably put some fans in there, but I'm not too worried about that. And I'm also not worrying about layers today. The reason why is because I'm using a feathering technique where there's gonna be multiple lengths per section. So it doesn't matter which layer I place my lengths on, it's gonna add to the end aesthetic of the set. So I'm really truly not worrying about layers. If I were in a rush, I would definitely still lash the bottom layer first to make sure that I was covering as many lashes as I possibly could and make it look like it's complete, even if it's not 100% finished. But I'm not in a rush today, so I'm just hoping for 100% coverage and just gonna lash until we're all out of lashes. And you probably noticed that I'm spacing my lashes out. I'm doing this on purpose. So I'm viewing this set, even though I'm just doing a wet lash set, even though I'm not worrying about layers, I'm spacing them accordingly. And the reason why is because I'm blending light and dark brown lashes together. So I'm gonna do my first line with my light brown lashes, and then I'm gonna go in between all of those lashes and I'm gonna place a row of dark brown lashes. Kind of viewing it as a hybrid set in a sense that when the set's all done, it's gonna be 50% dark brown and 50% light brown, and they're all gonna be evenly distributed across each section of the eye.